Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros has been hugely popular lately, so much so that it is really hard to get a physical copy of the book. I think the popularity of this book is well deserved for what it is. If you are someone who reads in the young adult fantasy romance genre, then you probably will like this book. If, like me, that is not the subgenre of fantasy you normally go for, you might still enjoy it, but there's some stuff you probably want to know first before going in. This book ticks all the boxes of what you would expect in that young adult fantasy romance. You get a beautiful and brave and intelligent main character in Violet Sorrengail. The plot is very uncomplicated. It's easy to follow. Violet was going to be a scribe. Her mom, the stern military general, says, no, our family are dragon riders. You are going to go to the war college. The reason this is an issue for Violet, not just because her mom is telling her to do something she didn't want to do, but because she has a physical disability in our modern world that we call Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. In a fantasy world, it didn't really have a name, but she gets hurt very easily. And so when you have a body that breaks easily and you're going to a war college where people often die before they even graduate, this is going to present an extra challenge to Violet. Other students are going to be able to rely on their physical strength, and Violet will not be able to do that. She will have to rely on other things about herself, like her wit and her intelligence and her bravery. And not only does she have to survive while she's there, she has to prove that she deserves to be there, not just because she is General Sorrengail's daughter, but on her own merit. The magic system is very cool. There is magic in the world, but dragons and humans have to get together and work together to make that magic work. And the combination of human and dragon bonds is what creates the wards that keeps their country safe. But while there are some lesser magics that every dragon rider can access and manipulate, once they've bonded with their dragon, each dragon rider gets a special magic that is unique to them and can be very powerful. The world building is kind of narrow. It really focuses mostly on the war college and why they're training to be dragon riders, and there's not much about the wider world. Once you get to the end of the book, you kind of see what's going on outside of the college, but the world building that there is pretty well done and solid. But this story doesn't really focus on that. Most of the world building is done between why dragons and humans get together and do magic. Being a young adult romance, the main characters are in their young 20s. There is a lot of sexual tension and references and teasing each other, and towards the end, a couple of very descriptive bedroom scenes. So if that's part of what you want in your fantasy romance, you are going to get it. If that's something you normally like to avoid, or if you're watching this review to see if this book is appropriate for a younger teen, I think it's good to be aware that those are there. I will say that if those bedroom scenes are not a problem for you in your books, you might like to know that every one of those encounters is consensual. Both partners are respectful and have agency. There is no sexual violence or anyone forcing anything on anyone else. So while the adult content is there, I think it's done in a positive and empowering manner. There's also quite a bit of language. I think every character uses F-bombs for descriptions and expletives. I'm not sure if they know any other words besides that one. So another good thing to know if you're thinking about this book for a younger teen. It is a young adult book, and it is geared toward adults who are on the younger side. You also get what I think is supposed to feel like a love triangle. It didn't feel like a love triangle to me because one of the guys that Violet is friends with, she is actually just friends with. There's like a little bit of tension, attraction between them, but it's not really happening at the same time as with the other person, therefore not creating a triangle. You also get your dark, brooding, moody love interest. The way he was written did feel a bit tropey to me, like that type of character had to be there, and the fact that he was dark and broody and moody was almost more important than who he was as a character. But besides being a little tropey, I still thought that the way he was written and the way he treats Violet was written well. And here's what I think was good about Fourth Wing as far as storytelling. I think that if you are a fan of A Court of Thorns and Roses, Fourth Wing is better. I think it's written better. I think the storytelling is better. I think the dialogue is better. The relationships are better. I will be honest that I did not read any of the books past A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I have heard that the ones past the first one are better than the first one. So I'm not saying that Fourth Wing is better than the entire Court series, at least better than the first one. Something else that Yarros has done really well is the representation in her book. Not everyone is a straight, white, able-bodied person. There is wide representation in this book that I feel was really well done. And the reason I feel like it was so well done is because those things about the characters that make them more diverse, whether it's gender or sexual identity or skin color or able-bodiedness or otherwise, those things were not made to be the character traits. So even though Violet herself has Ehlers-Danlos, that's not who she is. It's part of her that she lives with, and it was just part of her life. There wasn't a huge focus on it. She had to figure out how to live and survive with it. It felt like how diversity in stories should be done, and I thought she did a great job. So if you are looking for a good young adult fantasy romance, this is the book for you. You are going to get exactly what you're looking for, and it's going to be well done. If you tend to read older adult fantasy and you're not really into the young adult relationship or the young adult type of language, this one might not be for you because it does read very young adult. Also, if you were hoping to get the hard copy with the sprayed edges, you're gonna have to be willing to pay up because it's going to be at least a couple $100. Unless you're lucky enough to find somebody doing a giveaway on their channel or their Instagram or something. I hope this review was helpful, and let me know if you decide to read this or not. Happy reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye!